Tonight, we do have some really warm conditions out there. Our view from our Dallas camera kind of shows a little bit of a haze lingering over the Charlotte area. Right now, temperatures are very warm for this time of night. I mean, this is closer to where we should be for high temperatures, with a lot of 60s showing up and some of that fog beginning to pop up in a few spots. We've seen some visibility issues here and there, a couple spots less than 10 miles, but overnight I expect that fog will really start to get thicker and thicker. And by tomorrow morning, like we saw this morning, we're going to see areas of dense fog. It won't be everywhere, but you might go from a couple mile visibility to less than a quarter or a half mile. So use the low beams, give yourself some extra time, wait for things to mix out about mid-morning, and the fog will really lift pretty quickly. Now, temperature-wise, mid to upper 50s. I know that feels pretty cool in the summer or even in the spring, but this is a pretty warm temperature for this time of year. We should be about 10 to 12 degrees below that. There is a big cold front back to the west that doesn't really get here until the weekend, and even then it doesn't cool us down. So tonight, you can see how warm it's going to be, barely dropping below 60, and a quick warm up tomorrow for Halloween. Temperatures could be in the low 80s. This would put us in the top 5 warmest Halloweens on record. There's our cold front. Looks like the rain's going to try to get here, but it kind of falls apart. I do think we will have at least a 20% chance of rain, likely Friday night into Saturday morning, but then the front kind of washes itself out and then dissipates. But as I mentioned, if we get to 81 tomorrow, that would put us tied for 5th and 6th on this list here. So we're certainly going to have one of the warmer ones we've seen here in the Queen City. So tomorrow I'm planning to go out there with the kiddos for trick-or-treating. Expect temperatures really warm, probably not even going to need a jacket, with temperatures hovering in the 70s most of the night and eventually falling back into the 60s. Dry air stays in place, even though we have that light chance of rain Friday night. That's probably going to be it. Shows you the fog again. But as we go long range, that's kind of weird, but throw that one in there. The front this weekend falls apart, but next week it does look like we're going to have a more substantial chance of rain. After being dry for most of the week, here comes a stronger front. It's going to tap into more Gulf moisture, and by next Thursday, so basically a week from tomorrow, we actually will have a pretty good chance of rain. It's been so long since we've seen widespread rain. We don't want to see heavy stuff, obviously, with the recovery efforts in the mountains, but some light rain is much needed. It's also going to be incredibly warm for most of next week. Temperatures jumping up probably close to 80 a couple days next week before that front gets here. So you see the rain chances pretty negligible until the middle of next week, and then they really ramp up by next weekend. Your Guy Roofing 7-day forecast shows those temperatures staying warm even into the weekend, only dropping into the low and mid 70s. By next week for Election Day and Wednesday, we could be back close to 80 degrees. And then by the end of the week, we start to see cooler weather and wetter weather as the chance of rain should start to ramp up by next weekend.